In part one, we looked at the first 2 days of instruction this week, and now we're going to look at the final day of instruction before we have assessment. So we are this day looking at the relationship we have between Percy and Mr. Brunner, or Karen. As we know, this is a really, really crucial relationship. Particularly at the beginning when Percy is lacking a father figure. But we've also been exploring the idea of a hero's journey. So we know that a hero always has a mentor, and it's been very easy to see the role that Mr. Brunner or Chiron has played in that. So as always, we start with some explicit vocabulary instruction. And the question we're looking at here for ourselves is, what challenge does Percy face in this chapter, and also how does he respond to it? We have looked at this as well as being really important as part of theme. And of course, when we're looking at a novel, we don't want to say it just once. We're always looking at it as we go along. How is Percy being challenged? How is he responding to the challenge? How this changes can show us not only about character growth, but it can also be a really important one for the theme, because as he responds differently to challenges, it may show learning that he has when learning of the main character is always a clue to theme. I think this is really important to keep on stressing, because very often we assume that children can do this independently, that they're able to either spot how characters change and develop, or they're able to identify the theme. I know I've seen lots of times teachers assigning this as busy work or extra work for the early finishers. Unless this has been explicitly taught, this is not something that children should be asked to do independently. It needs to be developed and taught, and particularly when it's with a complex text. So I'm going to move this up here and just out of the way a little bit. So we're looking at what challenges Percy faces in the chapter. So some of them, and I've always put this in here for myself, as in these are answers that it can be. I created these slides last year, and I know I don't remember it this year unless I have the answers. But as we saw back here, the children work on it first. It's not that they're looking to get this answer straight away. These are possible answers. So it could be that he was playing capture the flag, which was a challenge for him. He was attacked by a hellhound. That tends to be challenging. And also being claimed by his father. So then we're looking, and again, you'll see here what is his response to that challenge. So there's lots of opportunities for the students to look back in the book. I do not expect them to have this off by heart. They're skimming and scanning through the book and talking with their group. So the collaborative group is really important here. They talk about it in their group, and then they can bring that information back. So he gets upset that he seems to have a small role. He tries, but he isn't successful, and then he's stunned when he's claimed by his father. So looking at that, now we can say, what does this reveal about his character? So rather than saying in the chapter, what did we learn, we have these specific events. So we can see that Percy wants to feel useful. He still doesn't believe what's happening, and he's overwhelmed and confused. So really small excerpts even. So we're looking here at, what does this scene reveal about Chiron and Percy's relationship, and then longer excerpt. So what we're doing in here is a bit of comparing and contrasting. Previously, when it was the former Mr. Brunner, how did Percy and Mr. Brunner interact, and what was their relationship? And now, how has that changed? So that's going to be Thursdays. Brings us to our last day of the week. It is a short week, and we are going to end the week with an assessment. I'm careful with my use of assessments. It needs to be meaningful. It's not a case of having a profile that just has lots of data in it. The data needs to tell me something. And while I have a lot of data from school readers that lets me know how the skills are developing with the students, I need also to have something from Percy Jackson that lets me know how are the students progressing with the lessons that I'm teaching? Because I provide so much scaffolded support, what can they do without that support? What have they mastered? So maybe I do less of it. What are they showing progress in, but still would need more instruction on? Or is there some areas that as a class or as individuals is providing a lot of challenge? So you'll see here within this, it's chapter 9 that they're looking at, and you'll see that there's a lot of places that we can work on with this. One of the things I wanted to direct your attention to is the fact that the students will have the book. So this is, again, never a memory. This is always that they can look back. So it starts by looking at vocabulary and seeing, can they use the meaning from the text in it. So it's multiple choice. Then it changes into looking at figurative language. If you remember from earlier, you'll have seen where we broke down the sentence and we worked with that. So it's, again, returning to this. I should mention this is an adapted assessment from UnBound. So I have not taken the full assessment. I've taken out parts of it, A, to make it shorter, and B, to make it more specific for the needs of my students. So they have a very short one sentence right here, but the part B is important. How does this impact on the understanding? Then they have a word like intervene. So we're looking at, can they break that down? And then can they take a definition? So this is morphology. So that's one I'm hoping is a strength for them. Again, very short excerpt. So it's only one sentence, but they've changed the meaning of the word. So why? What was this word doing? Was it implying that Percy would not be strong enough? Was it emphasizing that his friends would not be able to save him? Was it implying that something was going to happen beyond Percy's control, and was a warning that Percy may be disappointed? So in these, this is about being able to infer what the author meant and why his word choice was so specific. You can see one of the things I've also done is I've put in an extract because I want them to be able to look back, and it's how is Percy's point of view towards Mr. Brunner or Chiron changed in this chapter compared to the last one. And then there's a multiple choice. So it's how does he develop this? And again, they should be able to refer back to this, and none of this is without the students having the supports. It will give very meaningful data. It is very important. And it has to be worthy, I suppose, of taking the day away from instruction so that I get the meaning from it. And that is the week that ahead. Please let me know what you think, or if you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. And thank you for listening to it all.